In recent years, zoos have faced increasing scrutiny regarding animal welfare, particularly how closely captive environments reflect natural living conditions. For giraffes, which are highly social animals adapted to large open habitats and spend much of their time foraging, captivity can present many challenges. In zoos, they live within enclosure limits, where factors like restricted space, human activity, and regulated feeding may influence their behavior. When giraffes cannot fully perform natural behaviors, they may develop stereotypies, which are repetitive behaviors with no clear purpose that often indicate unmet behavioral needs. To address these concerns, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums developed a giraffe care manual with guidelines for habitat design, environmental conditions, nutrition, veterinary care, social structure, transportation, reproduction, and behavioral management. Despite all of these guidelines, stereotypic behaviors remain common. A survey of AZA-accredited zoos found that nearly 80% of the 214 giraffes studied showed at least one stereotypic behavior, most commonly repetitive licking and pacing. As animal welfare becomes a larger focus in zoo management, researchers are trying to better understand why these behaviors occur and how they can be reduced. Many of these stereotypies appear to be linked to feeding, since wild giraffes spend a large portion of the day and even part of the night foraging. Because of this, providing appropriate diets and opportunities for natural foraging through feeding enrichment is considered an important strategy for improving the welfare of captive giraffes.
So, why do these stereotypic behaviors occur? To understand this, we must consider their natural behavioral biology and how it relates to these welfare concerns. In the wild, giraffes are continuous browsers, spending much of their day feeding on leaves and branches. This behavior is supported by their specialized anatomy, including a prehensile tongue and a ruminant digestive system that requires regular intake of fibrous plant material and prolonged rumination. Because of this, giraffes don't just need food. They are biologically adapted to spend hours searching for, manipulating, and processing it. Their digestive system actually works best when food is consumed gradually, and their brain is wired to support this constant foraging behavior. This is why browsing is a highly motivated behavior, not just a choice. From an animal welfare perspective, motivation refers to the internal state that determines how likely an animal is to perform a behavior and how much effort it will make to do so. In giraffes, this motivation is driven by both internal signals, like hunger and digestion, and external cues, such as the presence of browse. In natural conditions, giraffes express this through an appetitive phase, actively searching and browsing, followed by a consummatory phase, eating and ruminating. However, in captivity, giraffes are often given concentrated feeds or limited browse that can be eaten quickly. This removes the need to search, manipulate, and process food for long periods. This creates a key welfare issue. The giraffe's body and brain are still strongly motivated to perform browsing behaviors, but the environment no longer allows it. When this motivation cannot be fulfilled, it leads to frustration. Over time, this can result in stereotypic behaviors.
The types of stereotypies performed can be used as a basis to understand their causes, with the two most prevalent in zoo giraffes being oral and locomotive. Oral stereotypies make up 72.4% of all performed, while pacing makes up 29.2%. Many oral stereotypic behaviors in giraffes, such as repetitive licking or tongue play, are closely tied to how their feeding needs are met. Frequency of feeding, feeding methods, and type of feed provided to zoo giraffes have been shown to be strongly associated with oral stereotypies. Studies have found that when feed is restricted, the duration of food processing is reduced, or their nutritional requirements are being met, stereotypies are performed. In captivity, giraffes often have simplified diets, leaving them highly motivated to forage without the proper outlet. If the diets of zoo giraffes are modified to mimic those of their wild counterparts, these abnormal behaviors are reduced. For instance, when giraffes received extra roughage and an increase in dietary fibers, they spent more time ruminating and less time performing oral stereotypies. Other studies focused on feeding enrichment, providing giraffes with feeders that require more tongue manipulation and effort, mimicking natural browsing. These enriched feeders significantly reduced repetitive licking behaviors.
The environmental conditions of giraffes will largely affect their ability to perform necessary and desired behaviors. Giraffes ruminate while walking. If they are not provided with adequate space, they have been observed to stop walking or ruminating for prolonged periods. As a result, pacing stereotypies are strongly associated with enclosure and environmental variables. If provided with a larger enclosure, they can ruminate for longer and can express more natural behaviors, reducing stress and frustration, resulting in decreased locomotor stereotypies. Feed restrictions also cause less rumination and locomotion, resulting in locomotive stereotypies. Giraffes can form strong social connections, and if disrupted, this can negatively impact their welfare, resulting in expressed stereotypies. Understanding what influences the frequency of stereotypies allows zoo staff to be informed while making management decisions, decreasing situations in which stereotypies are stimulated. Stereotypic behaviors are a result of experiences in the giraffe's life and cannot be reduced if their causes are not addressed. When attempting to reduce stereotypies through conditioning with a bitter spray, there was no significant difference in the amount of stereotypic licking, and instead caused the giraffe to perform the licking stereotypies on another section of the fence. sense. Understanding the results of behavioral research suggests that zoo management can minimize stereotypies by nurturing natural behaviors, doing so by offering more browse, enrichment devices, and feeding strategies that keep giraffes engaged in foraging. The result is not only a reduction in abnormal behaviors, but an overall improvement in welfare.
Overall, research shows that stereotypic behaviors in zoo giraffes develop when captive environments do not fully support natural behaviors like browsing and foraging. Because giraffes evolved as continuous browsers, feeding is not only important for nutrition, but also for fulfilling strong behavioral motivations. When captive diets rely on concentrated feeds and limited browse, feeding time is reduced, which can lead to frustration and behaviors such as repetitive licking, tongue play, and pacing. Studies show that management practices aimed at mimicking natural conditions can help reduce these behaviors, providing fiber-rich browse, feeding enrichment, larger enclosures, and stable social groupings allows giraffes to express more natural behaviors. These management practices exist because research has shown that meeting both the behavioral and biological needs of giraffes is essential in captivity. By applying these strategies, caretakers and policymakers can reduce stereotypies, support natural behaviors, and ultimately improve the overall welfare and quality of life of giraffes in zoos.